Chris is in the middle of doing woodworking, and we have fortunately had very good luck getting two guests that know. Well, actually, I'm the one that knows the least about this stuff, so like I'm going to shut up for most of this. But we have Dr. Nola Haynes with us, excuse me, from the Georgetown University, is a foreign policy expert. You may have seen her on the old MSNBC and some other places. And we also have Chad Scott, who is a NATO expert with us. So we are going to really dive into it. So, guys, I titled this, What Are We Doing in Venezuela? And Dr. Nola, I'm going to go to you first. What the hell are we doing?
Ooh, honey. I think only the Lord knows this one.
Fair.
But I can posit a few guesses. So, first and foremost, it strikes me as odd when I think about the founding of this country, to escape tyranny and oppression. And here we are. Apparently now we run Venezuela. That's wow.
For a while?
Yeah.
Is that what he said? Yeah.
Yeah. But honestly, what I think, what I know is happening, yes, it's oil, right? It's oil because what comes out of our ground is a certain type of oil, but what we need is the type of oil that Venezuela has. So that's one part of it, right? And then there is also the natural resources part. And then there's also the regime change part, right? So there's also this conversation that's been happening since the beginning of the administration. I always reference this article that Ben Rhodes wrote, trying to explain the concept of spheres of influence to people and what he thought was happening, regionally speaking.
And
right?
Nola, who's Ben Rhodes for the people who don't know?
Oh, I'm sorry. Ben is the former deputy national security advisor. And he's also, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's the founder of one of the organizations that I belong to, National Security Action.
Yeah.
But what I see happening, people are saying that they were worried that Trump was an isolationist. And Chad, let me know if you do or don't agree. But what I see is more of a unilateralist. I don't think we are kind of operating in the vacuum of isolation. There are many reasons, as to why I don't think that we are. But this kind of unilateral decision making, Trump thinking he's a king of the world, apparently, definitely the Western Hemisphere. So those are some of the things that I think is going on here.
Mm-hmm.
We are stealing those people's oil and then also trying to occupy them.
Yeah. Chad?
Yeah, so I agree with the unilateralist position here, because I think Trump is trying to create a multifaceted legacy in a manner that it drives home that he is, so he can say he was the best of the best of the best.
Right.
And it's all ego feeding.
Yeah.
And within this country, what we're doing now is kind of reestablishing a previous precedent. A lot of people are calling this a raid. It's more than just a raid. I think a raid kind of makes it more of a flippant point. This was unilateral regime change, followed by, as Nola said, an immediate talk of the United States running a country, and they're being completely overt about it being about natural resources. And so once again, we're turning the rules-based order on its head. And the reason I say it's reestablishing, because we've done this before. We've done this with Noriega. We've done this with many in the Middle East. And so the concern is it's once again renormalizing this type of behavior. So you hand Russia and China both license and their own talking points to do very similar things. I mean, we sat here and decreed the absolute horror that Putin was trying to assassinate Zelensky. And we would absolutely not stand for China doing the same thing in Taiwan. But now they're getting kind of an excuse. They're getting their hey, if the United States can do it, then so can we.
Yeah.
And it corrodes our traditional legal and moral arguments that a lot of, not just us, but a lot of the Western-led order, they rely on. They look to the US for leadership. And we are now starting to fail in that regard, it seems.
So a follow-up, because somebody, Bobby, asked this question, because I have been confused about this today. So we went in and we kidnapped, arrested, obtained, whatever, grabbed Maduro in the middle of the night. But now the vice president of Venezuela is, I believe, technically in charge, and we've heard reports that they want to give the woman that was the opposition leader, they want to bring her to power, but they have this VP that they say they're going to work with. So who's actually on the ground? Who is in charge right now? Do we know?
I'm glad you're bringing this up because there's so much mis and disinformation out there. There's some people that's, well, there's the administration who you can't trust. You can't trust for them to give you directions to go across the street. So, they're saying that she's going to work with them, that she works for them now. And she's saying, back up, boo, I do not. So her words are actually, no, I'm not going along with this, but the administration is out there pumping a different story out there. So, there's some murkiness with that. And then there's also some murkiness with, I think she was in Russia, if I'm not mistaken. And people are trying to connect the dots that somehow Putin is pulling the strings. And I'm like, well, actually, no. The relationship is far more complicated than that. And I have a whole explanation about that. I don't know if this is the time to go into it, but I just wanted to put out there that there's definitely some disinformation out there about who's running Venezuela right now.
So it's fascinating because I discussed this, I don't know, about 2 hours ago on my channel. This reeks of a palace coup situation where potentially the United States was involved in the planning. And there's a lot of things that are coming forward that really give red flags for me on how easy this was. This was extraordinarily easy.
Very easy.
And so what we're seeing is, from not just a political standpoint, but from a military standpoint, they have a tiered defense network in Venezuela based on what should have been a multi-billion-dollar air defense system provided by Russia and Iran. And I'm the first to tell anyone out there they're garbage at building air defenses, but they're not so garbage that big, fat, 40-year-old Chinooks can just traipse across the capital city.
Right.
And so what I'm thinking is, we see Rodriguez, this the vice president here. We see her coming forward and in a self-preservation mode. And I think what happened is she kind of read the writing on the wall. Trump was going to do this the whole time. I need to try to make a deal. And the amount of firepower that we brought to bear on Venezuela was not enough to destroy the entirety of their air defense network. And so there's now questions of, well, were they just not running? There's been discussions of maintenance. Once these soldiers out of CAG or the Delta guys got on ground, it was surprisingly easy for them to find and pull Maduro out and get him out of there. And so there's a lot of this discussion about who helped this happen, because it was way too easy. We had air superiority within 20 minutes. We didn't have that type of air superiority over Iran. It took us 9 days. It took for us to get that kind, and we still were using stealth aircraft because we were concerned, because Russian air defenses are formidable still, and that's what they were using. And it seems like we've seen destruction of one, but it wasn't enough to. It's just very strange to me. I think there was insiders helping.
So just to give people a sense, like if you remember either Gulf War V1 or V2, you can remember those CNN cameras with the night vision on them, and you can see air defense like firing up pretty much indiscriminately, not really like doing much, but like you would see it, right? Then when you saw, there's like one explosion that you see on this footage from Venezuela this morning, and it's seemingly one very controlled explosion, but really nothing else. And, it seems wild to me. And I've heard this, Chad, too, and I want to get your thoughts, Dr. Nola, too. But like, you're right. It feels way too easy. And the palace coup, which you're referring to, if people don't know what that means, is essentially the government that is theoretically working for Maduro basically said he's not worth it anymore. Like, we're going to give him up to give ourselves some breathing room, essentially, is what I think you're suggesting and I've heard. But Dr. Nola, what do you think about that theory?
I think it's obvious.
Yeah.
It's obvious. One moment we're hearing about boat strikes, and the next moment we're waking up to Maduro and his wife being kidnapped and Caracas being attacked. Huh? I mean, not to say that the next logical step wasn't an escalating step. not to say that I don't think anyone was shocked that that was the next step. I think people were shocked in terms of how quick it happened,
Yeah.
right? It went from boat strikes to now we're kidnapping people. That's an extreme escalation.
hmm
So my question is, what triggered that escalation? I mean, I know that there was all this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, but that's an extreme step,
Yeah.
right? So we will probably never know just because there's nothing transparent, really transparent about this administration.
Right.
And I know that they try to use national security for that, but in the last administration, I can tell you the level of transparency compared to this administration is night and day.
Right.
They traffic in propaganda where, I feel perfectly fine, admitting that the Biden administration bent over backwards to try and be as transparent as possible.
Mhm.
And I mean, not to the point where you talking about, all the details in the signal chat, but you're gonna let the world know
Right.
that Ukraine is like lining up about to invade Russia's about to invade Ukraine. You know what I mean? So the transparency levels are just vastly
Right.
different. So I want to know what triggered that specific escalation.
So there's
One of the
some
things
theories out there that are talking about they're getting very close to China. I mean, the Chinese delegation, I mean, there's two reports right now. The Chinese delegation left 3 days ago with potential treaties that were going to be signed here in the near future, and that was making Trump uncomfortable. Also, there was potential that there's small portions of the Chinese delegation still there waiting for that to happen. But I think it's not as nuanced. I think this is a Trump pet project.
Yeah.
We saw in the campaign, he talked vehemently about being just personally angry about Maduro and Hugo Chavez taking American oil. And there's
Nationalizing their own oil.
yeah, and so what happened is basically he was like, we just need to take it and sell it as ours. He overtly said that.
He said
And
that.
I think what he was trying to do was for the longest time get Maduro to play ball a little bit to a point, but it became very personal for him. And unlike in his first term where he had some people that were like, hey, pump the brakes, some experts, he's not going to get that from Hegseth. He's not going to get that from his staff. So whenever he has some kind of whim, thankfully he has still professionals at the lower level. Like, I mean, we can talk about the policy to go in, but the Delta guys that went in, they did their job very well. And thankfully no one no US soldiers got killed or anything, but we have to understand that I think we're operating on the whims of a leader now and the feelings. And that's very concerning.
Right.
And another part of it is, I mean, are we still, and I hate to bring this up, but it gets weirder and weirder every day. Are we still distracting from Epstein? Is this are we wag the dog situation again?
It's Epstein, it's Jack Smith, it's a whole bunch of
Roll numbers, all those things. Chris, go ahead. You were going to jump in on something.
Chad and Dr. Nola, could you kind of talk about the difference between like a declaration of war, a state of war, where we are now, and how this is going to affect our alliances? I've seen some kind of like mealy mouth condemnations, kind of,
but no clear declaration. In this, so it's murky. And thank you for that question, Chris. It's murky because you can consider what happened today an act of war. I would say the boat strikes, in my personal opinion, but in terms of like, there was some statements coming out of Venezuela, which I had posted on Threads, was like the closest comment that they came to declaring war against the United States, but there hasn't been a formal declaration. However, you can take the act as an act of war, right? But there's a lot of reasons why I could see why Venezuela would want to be hesitant to declare war against the United States. Don't nobody want that. No one wants this. No one.
No.
So, I think that the writing is on the wall at this point. As you guys know, before I was more careful with making those distinctions. But I think, after last night, it's pretty clear, we still have boats, our presence is still there, so we'll see what's next. I mean, I genuinely hope that we don't send, I really hope it's not boots on the ground, because this is a nothing war.
Yeah.
And 40 people did die. I'm happy to hear that, they weren't Americans, but there was a loss
Oh,
of
there
life.
was 40 civilians died.
Yeah,
That's the latest reporting.
yeah,
And I personally don't want to see Americans there in the service of a war crime.
Right.
That is disgusting and abhorrent to me.
Well, I want to ask a really ridiculous question that I have seen by bad faith actors over and over today. So, like, buckle up. But I have heard a lot of people say,
Buckle the F up.
buckle the fuck up. Buckle the fuck up. Noah's right. Noah's right. Buckle the, because this is a crazy one, but I'm going to say it anyways, because I think part of the thing that we need to do with these chats is arm people with the information when they are in debates with people on social, that we give them the factual information. So one was today that I saw over and over again, I just rolled my eyes at, was, well, Barack Obama went and killed Osama bin Laden and he didn't have a declaration of war. So what is the difference between, yes, killing a global terrorist leader who struck the United States and killed almost 3,100 people in the worst terror attack in U.S. history, and kidnapping Maduro?
Child, they just throwing goddamn spaghetti at the wall.
So
Yeah, I mean-
I'll say that
Go ahead, Chad.
we are still in the echoes of 9/11, even with this Maduro situation.
Yeah.
What Trump is twisting the authorization for use of military forces by calling them narco terrorists. He frames them in that same terrorist model that we used to kill Osama bin Laden. The problem is that authorization is 24 years old at this point, almost 25 years old.
Yeah.
And
What,
so
2002?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was
2001?
right after 9. It was like almost. It was right after 9/11.
Right after,
Because he was granted for Afghanistan, and then it was basically broadly extended to the entire world, because we were able to use it to go after terrorists in Africa, go after terrorists in the South Pacific. We've used it as an excuse to go and kill people in other countries because they were labeled as terrorists. Now the difference is, when it comes to people like Osama bin Laden, or when we kill the head of ISIS, that was within the framework of what the intent was. Now we're calling heads of state in other countries terrorist leaders, the narco-terrorist label. And because of that, it's now giving the president carte blanche to do whatever he wants, as long as he labels the leader a terrorist. What happens if like Canada's leader is labeled as some sort of terrorist because we're seeing something happen over there, or
who he's no fan of, by the way? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Carney, he doesn't like him at all.
Or what's really spooky is what happens when we've done this in Venezuela, but where do we go potentially with Cuba or Mexico? Because those are kind of the next logical tested target sets.
So one of the things I heard today, and you guys can confirm or deny this to me, but like, it came out that apparently Stephen Miller, everyone's like most hated fascist piece of shit who grew up in Santa Monica. So like, I don't really understand. But anyways, and his family's all liberal. It's a strange thing. But apparently he wanted to do this in Mexico because he wanted to go after fentanyl, which we all know is a mixture of, well, I guess we don't all know, but China and Mexico. And a lot of it comes through Mexico. So he wanted to actually do something similar. I mean, obviously not get the Mexican president, but probably strike cartels. And then they found that they could get a quote unquote quicker, cleaner win, but getting a lot of the goals, the PR goals that they were looking for by going into Venezuela and taking Maduro. I'm curious your thoughts on that theoretical scenario, because waging war in Mexico is a completely different beast from going and snatching a president that looks like his administration may have turned on him and handed him over anyways.
First of all, honey, I'm not trying to go up against Sheinbaum because, baby, she looked like she can box. She looked like I'm not trying to play with her. It's all of it is self-serving, and it's not self-serving for the United States, right? It's self-serving to make Trump and his ilk richer, first and foremost. You know, let's just be clear about that. And you know, it's it's so layered, Tim, and I'm having a hard time trying to figure out how I want to address the layers, because I could be here for a long time. But Chad, I'm gonna go to you while I get my thoughts together.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, he's already laying the groundwork. He said in his Fox interview this morning, he talked about Mexico. It weirdly came up out of nowhere, Mexico. He brought it up. It was a discussion that was being made about Venezuela, what's going on, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Scheinbaum isn't running Mexico." That's what he said. He said that she's frightened of the cartels. Here we go again with narco-terrorist cartels. And that rhetoric is how he's manufacturing the predicate for a cross-border strike. The difference is Scheinbaum is enormously popular. She doesn't have all the baggage that Maduro had. Right. And so that absolutely, there's not a lot of fuzziness there. It would absolutely be a massively illegal act. The other problem is the Mexican population in the United States is massive compared to the Venezuelan population. There would be a huge blowback. And so I worry there's going to be some alternative reason for this. And it's not going to be necessarily fentanyl. It's going to be some sort of self-defense situation where a Mexican cartel, whether it's really does something or false flag you use it as a false flag to do something in the United States. And now Trump is like, I'm protecting Americans, which is the same reason we went after Noriega, because we were protecting Americans in Colombia, and we were protecting in Panama, and we were protecting the Panama Canal. I'm worried that we're going to see that same situation in Venezuela as of right now. That's
exactly what we saw today, but it was more egregious because they kidnap people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you guys notice today that he went from talking about what happened in Venezuela to talking about Chicago and Portland, as if there was a continuous line and these things are the same? I think that is probably the most threatening thing I think that is coming from the scenario, is that in Trump's mind, what he just did, which is kidnap a head of state, is legitimized. And then he started talking about how the Chicago mayor and the Illinois governor are uncooperative and they're not doing these I think that in Trump's head, he is one step closer to trying to kidnap governors.
Does he think that those fishing boats, which we all know, Dr. Nola came on our pod a few weeks ago, we talked about how those boats can't even get to Florida. Does he think those boats are like finding the Mississippi River and then going all the way up to Chicago to deliver this fentanyl that doesn't exist in Venezuela? I'm confused, but I also know I'm giving him probably too much credit.
You knew exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, Tim.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna take. There's a question for Chris that I want to get to that is unrelated, but I also want to say we've got almost 200 people on here, which is great. If you are watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, because then that means you'll get our content again, and when we go live. So please hit that subscribe button. But Chris, we've had countless questions here. What the hell are you doing?
Yes.
First of all, power tools. Delirium Red. Juan is watching, and he texted me. So this is Delirium Red. It is absolutely.
Delicious.
It's. I think it's like 8% or maybe a little higher.
Careful.
I drink it out of a large wine glass because it helps with the aroma and everything. It's an experience. But I am building an L-shaped desk. This is walnut butcher block. There's actually 2 of them here that I'm bonding together, and this is the on offense studio. I have decided that I wanted to redo the floor, which meant that I had to empty the entire room. And this is the first home project that I have ever been defeated by. Pergo, the vinyl flooring, which clicks together, like the hardwood alternative. I have never, ever in my life met a project that I couldn't just do. This is the one.
Wow.
I spent last weekend trying to do this floor, and I had to tear it all up because I was doing
Oh,
terrible.
oh
So
wow.
Well, I
for
have
the
to tell you,
first time in my life, I'm calling a professional and having them do it.
I have to say, Chris, I am also undefeated in home improvement projects because I don't do any home improvement projects, and my wife does, or which some MAGA's going to call me a soy boy or something now, but like whatever, or I pay somebody. So, but someone asked about my beer too. Mine is far less exciting. I actually had a Peroni to start, which is it's all
Peroni's
right.
good.
But I have a cold torpedo Sierra Nevada IPA, and the reason that I had a hodgepodge is because there is a happy hour every Thursday at the space I work at, and if sometimes I just take one for home and stick it in the fridge, which maybe is technically not okay, but nobody has
Borrowing.
nobody has stopped.
Your taste
Yeah, but
testing.
I'm not giving them back.
Taste testing.
Anyways, so actually throughout that we lost 20 people, so maybe that was a mistake to get off the topic. But
I have a few things I want to say. I
yeah,
don't want to
go
forget
ahead.
that I'll say.
Go ahead.
So,
Go.
There's some things. I'm so happy you talked about terrorism. My dissertation is all about terrorism, and Trump was coming into office when I was writing my dissertation. So terrorism, his excuse for all national security, everything is always based around terrorism. But here's the interesting part about that. One of the reasons why he feels so emboldened is because of our lovely Supreme Court. And you want to know how and why. With the travel bans, the 2017 travel ban, the Trump administration had to go back multiple times until they got their argument right. And so the Supreme Court gave Donald Trump, they basically said that he can enact the travel bans regardless of what the lower court said, regardless of all the evidence, regardless about his own racist statements, his own xenophobic statements. They said due to presidential powers, he could go ahead with the travel bans. In my personal opinion, as a political scientist, if I was writing some sort of paper and if I was trying to find a moment in time that has emboldened a lot of these actions that we're seeing, that is one of those moments when the Supreme Court gave Trump that power, because he's not smart enough, he's not astute enough to be able to understand what it applies to and what it doesn't apply to and what those limitations are. Because the Trump legal atmosphere, I call them the loophole Larrys. If one thing they are going to do, they're going to find a damn loophole, right? And so there is, you can trace this back all the way, to 2017, and then the Supreme Court basically giving him immunity. In Trump's mind, he can do whatever it is that he wants to do. And then there's this tension between Article 1 and Article 2. Article 1, which says Congress has the power to, declare war. You got to consult with Congress. Mm-hmm. And then Article 2 says, however, the president is the commander in chief. The loophole Larrys, that's what they're leaning on, especially with the airstrikes, right? Ground mobilization, that's a little different. But there's always been this gray area with presidents and airstrikes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I want to, go ahead, Chad. I'll ask
I was just going to say that my concern is Trump may be ignorant to the general operations of the United States and policy, but his handlers and his people, they are not.
Right.
And I think we are headed for a situation, a very dangerous situation, where he's building the package, he's building the argument brick by brick. And when I say that's not him, but again, his people, his handlers, the behind the scenes people of the Project 2025, the MAGA world, things like that. He's building a world where he can find a way to stay in power. And so when you create a terrorist group out of thin air with these narco terrorists, when you say that these terrorists are now infiltrating our cities in Portland, Chicago, Los Angeles, wherever, when you have the Speaker of the House, Speaker Johnson, coming forward and saying things like, we have to win this election or Trump will be impeached, they're protecting Trump to such an extent that I've never even seen a singular party do that in history. And so what's happening now is I'm very concerned that he is finding ways very similar to how Putin does it, creating wars, creating enemies, if I'm not in the seat, this is going to happen. Americans are going to die. You're going to be scared. You're not going to have any money. You'll lose your job. And he's using this multifaceted approach or he's just the vehicle of it because he knows how to be the showman, because that's what he was. He was never really a great businessman. He was just a television guy. And so he can be the face of this movement where behind the scenes people are creating a scenario where he has an excuse to undermine the Constitution in the name of national security of Americans, protecting the economy, et cetera. And I'm worried this is just the next iteration of that.
Well, here is something that I have been confused about all day, and I think I know the answer, but I want the experts to tell me. So a few weeks ago, President Trump pardoned the former president of Honduras, who he also was a massive drug trafficker into the United States, was arrested, tried, convicted, sitting in prison, I believe. And somebody came whispering into Donald Trump's ear that, hey, he's from the party that we want to win in this next election, which ended up happening. How do you square those two, that you pardon one drug trafficker, serious drug trafficker to the United States, and then you actually invade someone's sovereignty to take a guy who probably is a worse human being overall, but like under the same pretense, essentially, this narco terrorism? How do we square this, or do we just not?
You're asking a logical question, and I just don't think that we can't think about these things logically, right?
Right.
I have no evidence of this, but I'm going to say pay for play. I mean, it's definitely looking like this administration is for sale, right? If Trump could recognize that guy standing right in front of him as the Honduran president,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, he even said he didn't know who he was.
Exactly.
He just said, people told me that I should pardon him, so I did.
This is my point. So, you are asking a logical question to which there is no logical answer for. It is what it is. And unfortunately, when you're primed for propaganda, you're not listening to the facts, the details, and logic. You're listening to, what your dear leader is telling you to listen to. But I just want to say something really quick, Tim, about why this never works historically. When we go in and we try to regime change and all these things. So one of the things that I mentioned in my 5 a.m. post, I was talking about the last time we've gone into Latin America like this was 1989 with Noriega, and no one here will be surprised that the same excuse was used: narco trafficking, right? And Noriega was our guy until he wasn't, right? So historically, this is nothing new. This has happened throughout time. It's happened in Panama. Lord knows Vietnam is one of the countries that I study historically because my dad was in Vietnam. And anyway, Chile, Iran, Guatemala, Iraq, Libya, Afghanistan. It doesn't work when we try to nation build, when we try to occupy. It doesn't work. And now we're adding kidnapping.
Right.
To the list of crimes.
Well, and it's very important, I think, what you said, because I didn't realize today, like, I still think of myself as young, even though I'm clearly not. And there were a lot of like left-leaning influencers today. I saw one, I'm not going to call them out because it's a little embarrassing, but like very large on YouTube in particular, said, well, has the US ever done this before? And the answer is yes, many times. Like, I mean, the Panama thing, I was 11, but I remember them like saying they went into his office and the cigarette was still lit because that was how close they were to nabbing him in his office before they caught him down the road or whatever. But like, it's never worked. You're right. Like, I mean, we did it in Iran, right? And like back in the 50s, and that turned out to be a disaster. Like, why don't we ever learn?
So I think that the question, why are we doing it if it's never worked before, is the wrong question. It's who benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Because in all of these instances, like there's been some sort of corporate interest that is being served. And this is like the American history. The last episode of On Offense was with Jonathan M. Katz, who wrote the book on Smedley Butler.
He's great.
And Smedley Butler is who I named my nonprofit after. This Marine Corps general, twice awarded the Medal of Honor, who lied to join the Marines at the age of 16 so that he could fight in the Spanish-American War. Became kind of like the General Mattis of that generation back in the early 1900s. And he ended his career the second highest Marine, and very, very popular household name, and then came out and became like an anti-imperialist war protester. And he talked about how he wasn't serving democracy, he was serving corporate interests, like creating banana republics, going in and deposing democratically elected, although not always incredibly popular leaders, and installing the corporate friendly puppet. And I think Venezuela, with all of the times that Trump mentioned oil today, like something he wasn't prompted to mention, he went out of his way to talk about it a whole lot. I think it makes it like very, very clear. This is not about democracy. This is not about peace. This is not about stability. It is entirely about oil and nothing more.
But the interesting thing to me is that Trump has, it's been reported that he has been going around to all of the oil execs in the United States saying like, hey, like if you could go back into Venezuela, like, would you do it? All of them have said no. There have been no yeses. So then if the oil companies don't want to go into Venezuela, what's the end game here, Chad? I want to hear like what does, I asked this question in interviews. What does success look like?
It's kind of funny because they may say no outright, but Trump will find a way to incentivize them to move in there. He'll find a way to get them in there. I mean, if they're just sitting there going, yeah, as an investor using our own money, that's way too volatile, and it's going to be volatile. And the reason it's going to be volatile is because there's people with guns that still have a vote in that country. The cartels, we didn't get rid of them. They're still there. We just took out Maduro. His vice president is still in power at this point right now. Now, because of that, it becomes a very volatile situation. That's like saying, if we took out the Iranian leader, would we send oil in? No, we're going to wait some time and make sure that it's a good place and time. This is what the business leaders would say. But the funny thing is when Chris was talking about who benefits, it's clearly the Trump inner circle.
Right.
There's no way around it, because the American people, we don't benefit. In fact, the U.S. starting to flood Venezuelan oil to other countries is going to undermine the U.S. oil production. And so because of that, our own oil industry may suffer. What's also super fascinating, and I'm not even sure Trump thought of this as a second or third order effect, this massively negatively impacts Russia. And I'm happy about that.
Right.
But the Venezuelan oil being opened up with U.S. control is going to absolutely crush Russia's ability to transport their oil. And this notion, and that's going to absolutely hurt Putin's ability to leverage anything in his war. And so people will say that China is going to be hurt, but only 4% of Venezuela, or only 4% of Chinese oil is Venezuelan. But China will benefit from the drop in oil prices so that they can plus up their strategic reserves in a potential fight for Taiwan. And I just worry that no one thought of the after effects of this, some of them good for us, some of them bad. And the reason no one thought of it is because Trump doesn't care. He doesn't care. Right. It's about him and his business buddies who lost money on Russian oil when we told them they can't, when Exxon and all of those companies built their refineries in Russia. And we told them under the Biden administration, you can't operate there. And to be fair, a good chunk of them chose themselves to leave because of the volatility and the optics and things like that. But because of that, they lost a lot of money. They're not fans of losing money, and they are now seeing Venezuela as a way to recoup that. And Trump wants to be that guy for them. And that's concerning.
Tim, you want to come in and say something? Because I have something that.
No, go for it.
So in addition to, everything you just said, there's another benefit for China, through my diplomacy and security lens. China gets to be who we once were,
Mhm.
right? And we
Yeah,
are
absolutely.
continuously
Yep.
ceding ground to China.
Their stability, correct. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like this is how I'm thinking about it. Like I'm legit thinking about, y'all may not know what I'm talking about, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. So here's an analogy. I'm thinking about the Kendrick and Drake beef, and in between was J. Cole.
Oh,
So
I'm
we
ready.
have
I'm so curious about this. Keep
Now
going.
I'm curious who Kendrick and who Drake is. Well, we clearly know who the pedophile is.
so Trump is not Kendrick.
No,
Yeah.
no.
And so Putin is J. Cole, and so Trump is Drake. Now here's my thinking here. J. Cole saw the situation and he was like, wait a minute. Do I stand to gain or lose if I get involved in this beef? He stepped out, right?
Mhm.
China has maneuverability. They've put themselves in a position to where they can kind of be neutral and then come in and swoop in, if they
Yep.
want to. And so you have Trump, who's definitely not Kendrick, and Putin right now, he's trying to figure out, okay, how do I, like you said, Chad, how do I regain my strategic footing? Because this does undermine everything that Putin's been trying to accomplish in Latin America for years. Because people need to understand,
Mhm.
Russia and China have been in Latin America and Africa for a very long time.
Yep.
So when I hear people talk about, oh, Putin is running the play here, I'm like, no, that's not the geopolitical situation. It's actually far more tenuous than that, in that you have instances where Putin and Xi have aligned. You have a situation with Ukraine and Russia. There's a loose security agreement. They've come together on space policy.
Yep.
So they're not besties, but they do understand that they have interests, they have connected interests. And so Putin isn't one of those figures where he has the swag right now to be able to pull those strings the way people think that he is the point that I'm trying to get to. That's not the role that Putin is playing here, y'all. He's, like Putin is not in a great situation. I need people to understand that. Like he needs resources really bad. He needs physical bodies to fight the war really bad. Right.
Yep.
So Putin doesn't have as much kind of, he's not Geppetto the way people think that he is.
Well, most importantly, though, because there's one you didn't answer here, Dr. Nola. Who's Kendrick in this situation?
My bad. Actually,
you can nominate yourself if you'd like. If you'd like to pick yourself, you could do that.
I messed up my own analogy. I got lost.
No, because I was like, wait, because I know just enough to know what this is about. I think Chad was a little confused. I think you said, but
no, I know. But
oh, you got it. I thought you said you didn't. Okay,
I'm not that old.
Right.
Come on now.
Well, I'm older than you, so I'm the one that's probably. Well, does Chris know?
Actually,
okay.
I don't know shit about culture.
Well, that's why I was
Kendrick Lamar is.
Yeah, that's why I was making a joke.
And China could be Kendrick. I think that's where I was going with that. China could be Kendrick because we are ceding ground. Drake made his own bed, honey. Don't get me going, y'all. Do not get me going.
Hey, I didn't know much about that beef, and I knew enough to be like, Drake, dude, sit this out, man.
Yeah,
like, this
sit down, baby.
You going against the GOAT. Like, maybe not do that. Like,
and let me tell you, she is out here making moves, and also while being able to retain the moral high ground, because China's talking about diplomacy, right? Which is kind of in and of itself hilarious. Because when I was at Department of State, and I know in my briefings, China is not our bestie. I'm just saying.
No.
Well, and Russia as a declining power there's a potential that they're going to drag China into something that China doesn't want to deal with. Russia
Right.
right now should be embarrassed. What happened in Venezuela, no matter how you shape it, Russia should be embarrassed by what happened. Either their equipment didn't work, and
From the
we've seen it
straight.
not work. Yeah, we've seen it not work
From
in
Texas.
Israel or in Iran. We've seen it not work in Ukraine, or they have so little influence in Venezuela that once the singular head of state gets removed, the whole country looks to the United States and goes, "Oh no, we're totally with them. We're with you, US." So either way, Russia looks inept from a manufacturing standpoint, or they look inept from a geopolitical influence
Yeah.
standpoint. And Putin is feeling that weakness, which is why he's been very, very quiet in this Venezuela situation. That's not a good thing, though. Putin on the geopolitical stage is being backed more and more and more into a corner, and that is concerning. And Venezuela was just another proof that he was told he was king shit of the world by all his people, and he's getting consistently proven that he's not. And
Mhm.
he's really seeing
I
it. And Xi Jinping is now becoming that person. He's
Mm.
totally becoming the
Right.
big brother, and that's concerning
Yeah.
to Putin.
Chad,
And
what was
so
so I saw this stuff again. I am reading this and I don't know that Swan Lake was being played wherever the president's or the dictator, I should say, his mansion where he lives and has been hiding because he's afraid of everybody. Do you know anything about that? Like what that's all about, or is that just some bullshit I saw? I'm
the
not
only
a
thing that I
conspiracy
know of
person, so.
is so every once in a while, some brilliant Ukrainian hackers find a way
Ah,
to hack. So Swan Lake, I don't know if you know the historical context. That was what was being
yeah,
played when the Soviet Union was collapsing,
right.
and it was basically, hey, nothing's wrong, everything's cool, just
Yeah.
watch Swan Lake. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's the Ukrainians every once in a while like to remind Russia that they're on a path, and they are on a path. Period. End of story. For collapse. I don't care what is going on. They will be. Might not happen this year. It might not happen in 5 years, but they are on a path where they will collapse eventually because of the current status they're
Well,
in. And Putin, it will be the reason for that. So,
how
and
how many
China will have
pe-
to deal with it.
how many people have they lost in Ukraine?
Well, total casualties are like 1.2 million, which includes wounded, desertions, and captured too. But yeah, something like
Is it
1.2 million
1.2 million for the Russia?
for Russia. Yeah, that's total casualties.
Like, I
Now,
mean,
with dead, it's usually 1/3 of that. So dead, I want to say it's like 400,000 or 500,000.
but they've lost 500,000 from their military,
Mhm.
well, in their prisons and other places. But
Yeah,
like,
and
I mean, this has to be one of the greatest foreign policy disasters that, I mean, we have a couple of them, but like one of the greatest foreign policy disasters that anybody has ever made was invading
Yeah.
Ukraine, right? I mean,
It's
this
only
is
gonna
like
take 3 days in and out.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
how many generals like I remember reading at the beginning, it was like so many generals are dying, and I'm like, why are these generals in harm's way? But then I learned they put people forward and whatever. But 500,000, and also there have been there have been strikes in Russia too, right? Like they've gotten
Mhm.
the Ukrainians have gotten very good with drones. They've gotten very good with hacking, which I assume is because of us, the previous administration, not the current one. But yeah, I mean, like if it has to be one of the worst ones ever, right? Like, I mean, this will be the thing that everybody remembers him for, and it's a disaster.
When ironically he was trying to reconstitute the greatness of the former
Right.
USSR. And honey, you
Right.
gonna go out sad.
Mm-mm.
You gonna go out sad, bro.
Well, it's like, and I don't know, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here, but like people are like, well, he's going to go to Georgia next. I'm like, well, can he?
He
Like,
already went to Georgia for a while and failed there too. He
right,
consistently fails. He failed in Moldova. And what's
Mhm.
right,
funny is I don't condone what we did in Venezuela, but I'm just going to put it to you, frame it in a way that shows just how different the United States is and Russia. Russia or the United States did to Venezuela in 30 minutes what Russia has been trying to do to Ukraine
right,
in almost 4 years and 500,000 deaths.
right.
That's the technical capability difference between US operators, technology planning, and Russian.
Yeah,
Again, I don't condone what we did in Venezuela, but the geopolitical reality is, and I consistently say this, is and I use this term and I can't remember who the author was that wrote it, but we have transcended the superpower status. The United States
Oh
is
yeah,
a
it's right.
hyperpower.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
We can project power anywhere in the world and do these types of things. Russia cannot even do it to their neighbor. And their neighbor, who is, I mean, on the global, it was on the global power rankings. They were like 74th, and Russia was like third, or it was, yeah, they were third or fourth.
But you're talking about the red, what I call the red myth. I mean, right? Because
Yeah.
even, when Russia went into Ukraine, I just remember like all the talkers, which I was one of them, but I remember all the talkers just talking up, Russia's capabilities.
Yep.
And then come to find out their shit is from like World War One. Like
yeah.
that's just how
Right.
old and raggedy. Like literally
100%.
drones are out there blowing up.
Yeah, 100%. It's really funny because I'm wearing a t-shirt right now that says Joint Multinational Readiness Center. That's the training center for multinational countries in Europe, where I was a trainer and a planner, and I worked with NATO stuff. And we trained, this was back in from 2015 to 2018, in that realm when I was doing this. We truly thought Russia was just as capable as us across the spectrum. We were training countries like, hey, this is a peer
That's what
competitor.
you're
This
good
is
at.
serious. Yeah, everything we can
That's
do,
the only
they can
thing you're
do.
good at.
And the problem is,
And vodka.
I thought the same thing. We were wrong. We were wrong. They are garbage across the board at fighting wars. They just have a leader that is completely willing to kill as many people.
Yeah, he
that
throws
need to
people
go.
into the wood chipper, right? It's
exactly.
just like, and that's why they get the people out of the prisons and they send them to the
Historically,
front.
that's how Russia, I mean, Russia has so many people and
Yep.
it's so big. I mean, through all the wars, it has been that exact situation. Just throw bodies at
Well,
it, throw bodies
they-
at it, throw bodies at it.
Maybe wasn't the Russian casualty list in World War II something like 28 million?
It was
It
ridiculous.
Like horrific.
It was
It
almost
was-
40
yeah.
million.
They
40?
suffered the most.
Yeah,
Total
They
casualties.
suffered
Yeah,
the
it was
most.
ridiculous.
yeah.
And
It's anyways.
Chad,
Go ahead.
don't forget, I was with the former UCOM commander recently at Georgia Tech. I just didn't. I don't want to forget that.
Oh no, yeah. Was it Hodges?
Huh?
General, was it Ben Hodges? Was that?
No. It was General Philip Ridlev.
Oh, okay.
Look at these
Yeah.
guys. Oh, General. Just casually know these people. I'm going. Oh, fucking know who these people are. Well, I'm gonna do another pitch to like subscribe to us. Now we're starting. I mean, I don't know if many conversations today about Venezuela have included a woodworker working his craft while we talk about like imagine go back 24 hours and be like, so this is what 24 hours from now is going to be like. You're going to be on this live talking about how the United States kidnapped Maduro, and while we're doing it, Chris is going to be woodworking in the basement.
Before I joined the army,
you want to be a carpenter, right?
One of those programs for like kids who don't like school, and I went to woodworking as like half of my high school career. So maybe this woodworking and war thing is just like hardwired.
Business idea. Woodworking and war woodworking.
It's like the TikTok split screens you see where one side is some random like manufacturing and then they're just talking about other stuff. It works.
I know. I mean, baby, look at this. He's picking it the whole thing.
I know.
Back like
I love it.
Got the T-shirt on.
For the ladies.
This is my T-shirt that I don't show people because it came with.
I've got one of those.
Hey!
Did you get it when you closed?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I got one of those.
Whatever. It's like a military. It's not military affiliated, but it's branded that way.
Yeah.
My loan servicer.
Wow, that is great.
It's a very cozy shirt, but I don't wear it outside.
I understand. So I'm gonna drop the mic in a second, Chris. So I'm gonna need you to guard for like a couple minutes, unless maybe you guys will answer these questions before I come back, because I just need to go upstairs for a second.
Or with a woody. What the hell? I'm looking at the comments.
Oh, people are starting to get.
Y'all, they sipping too.
Yeah, they're sipping. Well, they're deeper than we are. Actually, that's what I want to go upstairs. But so I'm gonna ask this question, that I'm not gonna hear it. So I will just try to pretend. But anyways, so what happens now? Like what does Trump do? Like he says we're running it. Like what does that look like? And Chris.
Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth is running.
Oh my God.
He's
Okay.
the new king of Venezuela.
All right. Yeah. Is it him or is Marco Rubio going to be head of USAID, State Department, Venezuela?
What USAID?
Oh, well.
Yeah.
That's just
It's like a guy
600,000
and his
people.
friend.
Yeah. No, he's not. Clearly, he took care of that in 600,000 lives around the world at the same time.
Yeah.
What happens next? Go. Who wants it first?
Go ahead, Chad.
Well, I mean, the problem is I saw this meme where it was, I don't know if you ever see the meme of the horse where it's beautifully drawn on the back end and then on the front end it's just a scribble. And it was the invasion taking Maduro. It was so like Star Spangled Awesome that that's what we're focused on right now. And then the scribbles, we have, even the administration, I don't think has a true picture of what the future looks like with Venezuela. We are talking about one of two situations. We are either going to be supporting the vice president who was vice president under Maduro for 6 years or 7 years now, 2018, she joined, or we're going to have Machado come in, who the United States was originally supporting. And either way, one side is not going to be happy. And there's enough people with guns on the other side that it's going to cause problems. And I've seen so many people say, this time it's different. This time it's different. It's not the Middle East. And I'm like, no, this is going to be, if we're going to call cartels terrorists, if that's what they're going to be labeled, they're going to act like it. They have influence. They have the means to change. They can assassinate. And if we think that we're going to overthrow a government like we did with Noriega without boots on ground, that's absolutely false. In Panama, we put boots on ground. We had to invest money for years. So it's not like we can just go, Maduro's gone. Got it. You got it, Venezuela. That's not going to happen. The plan that is, we're just going to put the VP in place or eventually Machado. That's not a plan. That is Trump wanting the cool guy feather in his cap. Look at what we did. Here's a picture of me in the Situation Room. It always pissed him off that Obama had that really cool picture in the Situation Room when they got bin Laden and everything. And he always wanted that. And so they took a picture where Twitter was up in the back on the TV. And so it was, I don't think there is a plan. We're going to have competing claims of legitimacy. You're going to see one side claim who has guns, the other side claim who has guns. And then the United States has a vote too, because they clearly have guns. Internal security becomes a problem. That we're going to see protests and counter protests, and those are going to expand. We've talked about the oil infrastructure, but how does that get parsed out? That's probably going to be the U.S. center of gravity. Trump's not going to care about the average Venezuelan. He just wants to make sure the oil is flowing. And so at what point do we sit here and go, oh no, we've created probably the worst mess in the Western Hemisphere of a generation at this point, since at least the Panama or even Cuba. At what point do we admit that, oh no, we created this and we have to figure out a way to conduct an orderly transition, and we can't do that by telephone. We're going to have to put people there to ensure that things are taken care of, that the ministries are functioning, that kids are getting fed, etc. And that's just the big concern, is the administration doesn't have that plan, or at least they haven't stated it, and they've never had the capacity to state it.
Even when capable people were in office, we still couldn't follow through with the rest of, you know what I mean? We still couldn't follow through with that. So no, that's a great point. Yeah,
Obama found it incredibly difficult for as great a president as he was. He found it incredibly difficult to nation build in Iraq. And I think we can't just hand wave and say that this is, we got Maduro, high five, we're Americans, cool guy, let's go shoot some fireworks and stuff. And that's without, and not have a plan. Bush, for all his faults on Iraq, at least had somewhat of a post-occupation plan. I haven't seen a single utterance of anything for Venezuela.
I was really proud today because I got to make a Paul Bremer joke because I was like, who is like who's going to run, when we were talking about who's going to run Venezuela, it's like, well, can they dust off old Paul Bremer because he did such a bang up job in Iraq back in 2002, 2003. Of course, this is probably one that goes completely over everybody because they're like, why the hell does anyone know who that guy is? I'm glad you did. I'm glad somebody did. But anyways, this also shows my age.
He disbanded the Iraqi military and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so God, I hope we don't do that. That's what created terrorism in Iraq, basically. And that's actually a legit concern. I'm glad you brought that up. That is a super worrying problem, because if the military turns on Trump's person, whether it's Rodriguez or Machado, he's going to call for the disbanding of the military, and that's going to turn into an insurgency.
Well, right. What better way to create terrorism than to take at least tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people with military training and then give them no job in return?
Yeah. Take their pay, but let them keep their guns. That was
yeah.
Well, on the right, you can't take anyone's gun away from anybody, but
like Petraeus told him he killed Americans. He was pissed about that whole situation.
He definitely did. I don't think that this is probably why nobody talks to Paul Bremer anymore. Yeah, because he.
Oh, I know who it is.
I just remember him with the boots and the suit, and I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
God. Anyways, back to this decade. Noah, go ahead.
I just wanted to come in really quick. There's so many different ways that I have spent way too much time with the Trump administration. Trump is in my brain for the last 10 years, unfortunately. And what's so interesting about this, so much of this is a production, which is why there's no strategy, right? It's designed to be looked, to be seen, to be doing strong things. There's no strategy. There's no day after plan. There's no near term. There's no long-term plan. It's the performative act of looking strong, right? In addition to him trying to change the news cycle in really extreme ways. But again, it speaks to the fact that Trump has always had a hard time with reality because he's never lived in it. And then, especially his foray into C-list Hollywood, he just doesn't exist in a world of reality. So there's that level. And then when you have the cabinet members who have no real expertise, right? They are simply there out of dark and misplaced loyalties, self-serving, and they don't know how to do their jobs. So you have a calamitous situation that is going to be shambolic and chaotic because there is no strategy.
Wait, Dr. Nolan, are you telling me that being the weekend anchor of Fox and Friends is not qualifications to be the Secretary of Defense?
You know what?
Aren't you being a little unfair here?
You may learn a thing or two reading breaking news, but
I actually,
I don't know if you know the intricacies of how to like create a sanction.
No. So I do think that there is a difference between Hegseth, who clearly has no idea he lives in an alternative reality, and Rubio. Like Rubio,
yes.
So we thought
Rubio, you could see, I think. You could see in his face during the press conference today when Trump was saying shit where it was like clearly hadn't been run by Rubio at all. Like, oh yeah, the people standing next to me are going to be running Venezuela. Like Rubio's poker face sucks. He was like
so bad.
Every press conference. He did that with Zelensky. His face was like, what the hell are we doing?
But it doesn't matter because he still goes out and do the policy. You know what I'm saying? Just like with MT. What's her name? Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't give a damn what your face say.
No, your actions.
What you do.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, she's
and you talking about invading your own motherland, boo-boo, today. You talking about going into Cuba anyway.
Oh, this whole deal, Trump, her separating with Trump is because he wouldn't endorse her for Senate. He didn't want her to do it. That's what that whole beef is about. Now, it's not about Epstein or it's not about Venezuela or any of this shit. Like, she's just mad because she didn't want to be a backbench congresswoman that nobody would listen to because she's fucking crazy. And so now she's going to go to the private sector and make a ton of money peddling. She's going, I bet,
She's gonna go to
I
Fox.
would, well, I was going to say, I could see her as the next Alex Jones.
Her
I mean,
crisis
Oh,
comms team is
Podcast,
bomb,
yeah.
though, honey. Whoever the
Yep.
hell running her crisis comms, run them the check because they are doing a great job.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
They have rehabbed her. I'm not falling for it, but
no, a lot of people, but I've seen a lot of Democrats be like, oh, well, welcome to the resistance. I'm
And
like,
they can
please
all
don't
get
say that.
mad.
First of all, do not call this the resistance. God, this is a terrible name. But like, we've also did it before. But yeah, she's bad. like
the
she's,
voting record, that's who the person is. The action.
and don't forget, before she was a member of Congress, she chased. God damn, this Mike Helder. I told people before this was a problem. She chased. Was it David Hogg around the Capitol, yelling at him about how Parkland didn't happen.
Oh yeah, that was disgusting.
Like, and she wasn't even a member of that. That's how she won her seat. Was that and so like she was, like you said, like her voting record absolutely, which is insanely bad, but also her character before. Not to mention that she had affairs and then cheated on her husband and then like married that guy, and there's all this like workout stuff drama with what did they do? What's the one that's basically a cult? The workout thing. Shit.
Maha, is that it?
No.
You're, CrossFit.
CrossFit. Yeah.
Oh, CrossFit. Honey,
I mean,
Jasmine Crockett broke her soul in
I do
half.
not do
She had to do something different. Jasmine broke her ass down.
I mean, I did Orange Theory for 5 years, which is kind of like a berries. It's like a rowing, and then weights. And I thought I was going to die, but like the CrossFit stuff, it's basically like, yeah. To each their own.
I can beat that. You want to know? I always joke and say I was in a fitness cult, but no, this shit is real. So I did the OG Taibo in Sherman Oaks. With
Really?
Yep.
Is that Billy Banks?
Billy trained me for years.
No
I
way.
learned how to kickbox there. Like I literally took boxing and kickboxing very seriously because I was in the studio. And so we were a cult. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Like we bought all the merchandise and we were in there 5 days a week, honey. Like we were in there deep.
Whatever happened to it?
I mean, it just became, it was a trend and people got
Right, then it just go, yeah. It's like Suzanne
Yeah.
Summers had that, like,
Yeah.
what was the thing that she put, the whatever, the hip flex thingy, whatever, I don't know what it's called. But I'm also making myself sound very old by talking about that. But, well, Nola, we were talking about, we got a little special last time we did this, Chad, or 2 times ago, Chad announced his podcast with the Find Out Media crew. Him and Mr. Global are going to be doing a show. We have officially decided on the name, right? We are doing American Power.
American Power is what the name for us, yeah.
So Chad with his NATO experience and Mr. Global is, if you don't know him on TikTok, he's got like he's an oil and gas expert on our side. So they're going to talk about, because let's be honest, most of these international conflicts, including the one we're talking about right now, usually have something to do with natural resources. And so that is important. But Nola, what are we doing?
Yes.
What are we doing?
Well, okay. So, oh my gosh, I'm like nervous and excited at the same time. So, we don't have a formal date yet, but sooner than later, my podcast on Find Out Media will be dropping soon. And the name of my podcast is I'm Not Jack Ryan.
That's pretty good.
I love it. But tell them why. Because that's a good story.
Okay. So the reason why is because my dad is convinced that I'm Jack Ryan. And especially when I was at Department of State, he was convinced that I really worked for the CIA.
I love it.
And so one day, I sent him an email from work because I was going to be in a skiff all day. And he was like, I knew it. I was like, oh my God. Like I was just trying to tell him, look, you can't get in contact with me. Here's the number you can call. And child, he probably called everybody in New Orleans and told them. But I love it. It comes from that inside joke between my dad and I. And because there are some people in my world that actually kind of like think that I'm a spy. But I'm not. I'm an academic strategist and policy person, but yeah, I'm really excited about being on the network. I think the energy here is great. And it'll be interesting to be a Black woman on this journey with y'all.
Yes.
Bunch of bearded white guys.
That's all this white dudes. It's like, my God, like we gotta break it somehow. So, but your show. What are we going to be doing with your show?
So my show, we're going to be talking about all things national security, foreign policy, international security. So security and culture, those are the two words that you should walk away with: security and culture. But we're going to make it fun. We're going to make it interesting. So say, for instance, like an episode that I'm really excited to have, like this is my dream get. This is a dream get. You ready for this? I want to talk to, oh my God, his name just escaped my brain, and that's crazy. But because I was about to say Michael Jordan, but that's not who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Michael Jordan. I'm talking about the actor.
Renowned foreign policy expert Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Right? That does seem like the world of podcasting.
MJ. So are you anti-Maduro or pro? Like, what's your... Yeah. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what I'm trying to say is how Michael, oh my God, Black people are going to...
Are you talking about Michael B. Jordan?
Thank you. Yes, the B. I forgot the B.
You were right.
I was right. Okay, Michael B. Jordan.
Win.
Oh God! If you lock that, you are gonna have no problem.
Listen,
this dude over here knowing who Kendrick is and Michael B. Jordan.
He has a military movie that I watch all the time. And so I want to do, not only do I want to have these conversations, and obviously we need to get Dems elected, but the way in which national security shows up in our culture in movies and films, I want to bring people in to have those conversations around impact through the creative lens, right? So I want to have all of these different types of conversations. We're going to have insiders, we're going to have outsiders, and we're going to have very, very nerdy people, because I'm Not Jack Ryan is very, very, very expert friendly. What we're not about to do is dumb it down. Having a relatable conversation is very different.
Yep.
From dumbing things down. I think that's actually part of the problem. But so just know my show is about serious things, but we are kind of like, talking about it in a way that, like, you're just sitting around at home, around your kitchen table and with your friends. So I'm excited, Tim. I'm really excited.
Super excited. And
excited.
Actually, it's funny. We both met on Roland Martin's show. And then we got connected. Who the hell connected? I don't even remember who connected us before.
You slid in my DMs.
Did I do that?
You saw my thread. You saw a Threads post.
That's right. But someone said something to you, which is why I got confused, because I was like, there's no way they're telling me to talk to the person that I was on Roland Martin's show. That's too weird of a connection. And then I realized that it was. I don't know. I got to go look. But I did slide into your DMs. That is true. And I'm so glad I did.
That was good. I was like, I saw this person who made this Threads post. Yeah, I remember this.
Yes, we were talking about it at the same time. So it's like, we should talk to her. And we had our show that I don't remember what disaster we were talking about on that, but which went really well. And then we were like, man, we should be talking about doing more stuff again. Oh my God. It was the boats. It was the boats. Yeah. Right. We've done like 75 now. I can't keep them in my brain. But yeah, no, we are super excited. And I think the part of the thing that we're excited about with Find Out Media is we're not just trying to bring white dudes or dudes in general over. We want them to also be better men. And so just listening to a bunch of us idiots is not necessarily the way to do that. That's why we need a well-rounded audience, different perspectives that we are super, excited about, because I also don't have the solutions to all of our problems. And it's so great. We can jump on this because we all were talking. So we're like, well, Venezuela's up, Chad America Power, and I'm Not Jack Ryan over here, and we can do these things, and we can bring it to everybody, which is why we're super excited, and that's why I need you to subscribe below to stay in contact with us so that we could tell you where these shows are when they go live.
Tim, I'm sorry. I got to address something in the
Ryan
comments.
now.
Oh,
Chris, hold on. I need to know, what does an old Japanese movie sound like? What the hell does that mean? I'm addressing the comments.
wait, what is this? What's
Somebody
happening? I
said
missed it.
sound like an old Japanese movie. I don't know what that means.
What is? I don't. This is way. I'm trying to find it now. I'm trying to go back
Is
and
that
find
like
it.
Charlie Brown's mom? I don't know.
Is
What
that
that means.
Oh, Japanese.
Is that one of my
movie.
students?
Oh, I know. Are you just getting like slayed by somebody you know?
Oh my God, that's hilarious. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Chris, but I couldn't let that slide.
Oh, that's okay. So, so there's someone who thinks that I am Jack Ryan,
I
and
can
that is one disgraced former general,
Yes.
Mike Flynn.
Tell this story. This
So
is great.
on Christmas, I took a day off from social media, and like I don't know 8 o'clock p.m. I get a text from one of my friends from kind of like the OSINT community, being like, "Hey man, are you okay?" Which is always a great like thing. And it turned out that Mike Flynn had discovered that I've been talking shit about him for approximately 10 fucking years. And like had a conniption fit and just posted all over social media about how I'm a CIA agent who infiltrated January 6th and was responsible for the insurrection. All sorts of crazy conspiracy theory shit, which naturally resulted in the usual, the death threats and all the like. But yeah, it was a fun Christmas. That is how Mike Flynn spent his Christmas evening, was posting about me on every social media platform.
Yeah, but you know what? The second because obviously he told me the story when it actually, I think we were talking about it when it was going on. Did you tell the Facebook part or did you not?
Yeah. I've been Facebook friends with Mike Flynn since he was picked picked by Trump for the first administration. As soon as his name came out, I just sent him a friend request and he fucking accepted, because he's the dumbest man on the planet.
Well, what I was going to say was that he shut the fuck up when you came out and said that you were Facebook friends with him, and you even showed the photo of where you actually met him once.
That's hilarious.
This guy is a fucking idiot, because you had told us months ago. You were like, "Oh yeah, me and Michael Flynn are Facebook friends," and I was like,
I've said
What?
that in multiple documentaries. It has made it like into multiple award-winning documentaries where like, yes, I am Facebook friends with Mike Flynn. Like he's like, "Oh, he's spying on me." Like, bro, you accepted my friend request in 2016, and I'm simply just watching what you post online.
"How'd you get all those cameras, Chris? How'd you get all
It's not even like he's setting these things to private so only his friends can read it. Like I knew that he was getting arrested because he posted some like emo shit on Facebook back in 20 whenever the fuck it was. Like I could tell when Flynn was having a personal crisis, because he would post like a picture of contrails in the sky that looked like a cross. And like I knew that meant like, oh, he's having a fucking moment. Like this guy has been indicted. And I swear to God, I write an intelligence report about it. And like, Mike Flynn is having a hard time. And then fucking 2 hours later, a news story comes out like Mike Flynn is going to jail.
That guy was in charge of was he like what was his job? He was the Defense Information Agency. Yeah, intelligence, excuse me. Yeah. And Obama fired him, right? He fired him because he's a fucking psycho.
And left a warning. Not only fired, but left a warning on the way out.
Oh, what did he...
Like, don't fire this guy.
Oh, did he say that?
Yes.
Oh my God. I mean, and his brother is also was high up in the military or still is, right? Like, but is not.
He is, right?
On January 6th, he was responsible for security in the Capitol.
Yeah.
Oh. That didn't go well.
Oh, right.
That didn't go
Yeah,
well.
I mean, which spawned
At
a bunch
all.
of conspiracy theories. Like, I think incompetence is the answer to most of the problems that happened.
Dude was so bad,
Around the
Trump
Flint's.
fired him after 24 days.
But I was friends with. So after I became friends with Mike Flynn on Facebook, I just sent friend requests to every Flynn because it's a big Irish family.
Yeah.
So there are tons of cousins. So I get to see all of the Flynn like craziness
awesome.
because
Like, to this day.
yeah, I just like Joe Flynn, his brother Joe Flynn was until Facebook like started cracking down on I don't know COVID disinformation. Joe Flynn was a great source of information because that motherfucker just could not post about anything. And the dude absolutely worships his brother like he's a fucking actual deity. So
God.
anytime that him and like Mike Flynn were starting a business or like anything that I needed to like research, Joe Flynn just posted it on Facebook, so I didn't have to do any
Jesus.
digging.
And then
Like-
also his son is a dipshit too, right?
Yeah, I met him at the QAnon conference.
By the way, what happened to them? They just got everything they
That's
wanted.
a wild ass sentence.
So
Why did that stop?
2 days before the 2022 elections, which was supposed to be the red wave that never happened.
Right.
I went to Branson, Missouri,
Oh my
which
God.
I had never been there before. Didn't know shit about it. When I got off the plane and go to the rental car place, the lady asks like, "Hey, have you ever been here before?" I'm like, "No, I'm just, here for work. I'm just doing a thing." And she's like, "Well, it's like Vegas if Vegas was designed by Ned Flanders." And that is the most accurate description of any city or place I have ever heard in my life. It is like Ned Flanders' version of Vegas. Lots of neon, lots of like Jesus Christ shit. But anyway, so I met Mike Flynn Jr., who, while I had a GoPro strapped to my chest because I'm dressed like a QAnon guy, so it's just me in camouflage with a bunch of cameras, and I talked to Mike Flynn Jr. for like an hour and a half about all this like Pizzagate conspiracy theory and like him being like harassed by the government and all sorts of shit. So Mike Flynn said in his posts, and he confirmed this after I was like, "You're a fucking joke," that he reached out to Susie Wiles and Kash Patel to investigate me without mercy. And I'm like, cool, bro, because Kash Patel was a featured speaker at that QAnon conference, and I have the video. So sure, FBI, come investigate me because I'll gladly fucking make this public record.
Oh,
So, I mean, this shit's all public. It just hasn't been well reported. But
yeah, that was you must have gotten some crazy shit on that. Was that Christmas Eve?
It was Christmas Day.
Oh, it was Christmas Day.
Wow.
Yeah.
This week I don't even know.
Like Christmas Day,
what
like
day it is.
a week ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it was like this wasn't old news. This just happened.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember the
Oh, yeah.
conversation you were having in the chat about it, and I was like, because I got jealous. I was like, how come I can't get on any of these lists?
Well, you're joining Find Out Media. You probably will be. So
Don't say that.
Or you'll be on the list.
I gotta go back. I gotta go back when the next administration come in and fix
I
this shit.
need to talk to you because I want to go and work for state at some point.
Well,
I just can't.
if
'cause
we
I can't
all
move
do
to
well,
DC
guys,
yet.
maybe the power of Find Out Media will get you there. I don't know. We got to back the right horse.
I have to.
The muscle's
have to
leaving.
go to bed.
Yeah.
All right, you go to bed. We're gonna wrap because I think we're at 10. This is a pretty good night. Have a good night, Chris.
See you guys later.
Hi, Chris.
Bye.
So
Bye.
for everybody still here, just for a minute, make sure you hit the subscribe button because that's how you're going to see these lives. That's how you're going to find out more information about us. Find out when American. I'm pointing over because Chad's over here and Nola's behind me, but below. Chad over here with American Power and Nola with I Am Not Jack Ryan. I think we will make this announcement of all of our shows because we actually have not only these guys, there are 6 others.
Mhm.
No one said no to us. We were kind of like, well, we'll see. We don't know if this model is going to work, whatever. And then everybody said yes. We got to stop talking to people because we're getting more good ideas. And I'm like, we actually don't have enough people to do it. But yes, so subscribe to the YouTube channel here. And we are You know, we're going to be making announcements in the next few weeks, but we are very, very excited. And our goal overall is to help move more men to the left, and we are doing that through a variety. We just happen to have two foreign policy centric shows with a little more culture and entertainment. Though Chad, you and Mr. Global, if you guys want to talk about the Kendrick Lamar and Drake,
Oh yeah, I'm sure
I would pay to watch that.
Well versed in Kendrick Lamar.
He'd be like, "What? Who?"
I don't know. I might be. He surprises you sometimes. So.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, we're all going to be one happy family. I am super excited about it. So everybody, thank you for watching, and thank you to Chad, Dr. Nola, for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
We're getting more professional. We have a new employee starting on Monday, which is very exciting, and we are interviewing 2 more. So like these are going to become more regular. And generally, what we do is every Wednesday night at 8:45 p.m. Eastern, we come on here and just hang out. You know, sometimes we have a cocktail, sometimes we don't, and as we get bigger, we're going to do more of these. So I want to thank everyone. This is actually the most popular one we have done other than our election night show earlier late last year. I'm now in 26. I have to remember that. So many people interested. So this was great, guys. So we're definitely going to do these more because Trump's going to do more dumb shit abroad. We're going to have to talk about it. So anyways, thank you all. It's 10 o'clock on the East Coast. Enjoy your evenings. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Dr. Nola. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, guys.